Today I'm going to show you from start to finish how I painted this landscape using oil paints, paintbrushes and of course palette knives. So colours today are titanium white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow deep, which I didn't really use much of, sap green, cerulean blue, and what's that? Ultramarine blue, cadmium reds and burnt sienna. And my medium again is gambling solvent-free gel. And I'm just starting up by mixing cloud colour. So here's the reference photo. I'll leave it here until I finish mixing up the colours. Yeah, I'm just mixing up a batch of colours really for the sky and using my mini palette knife for that. It just helps me kind of see what's going on really with the colours, and having it sort of laid out on the palette and getting a head start with the colour mixing did really help with this piece. So I'm going for some sort of quite like a mix of really pale purple. So that was ultramarine blue, cadmium red and titanium whites, and I'm just going to lighten up the mix now. And yeah, basically now I'm going to create some blue. So I got really lost in the sky, not literally, but I really kind of enjoyed playing with these clouds. So yeah, I'm going to mix up a variation now of blues. And while I'm mixing up that, I'll just let you know that it's a 10 by 10 inch wood panel, and it's been primed with Michael Harding's non-absorbent acrylic primer. Get your hands on some of that stuff. I suggest if you like working on surfaces that aren't absorbent, that doesn't absorb all the oil paint, then I highly recommend this surface, this primer. I'll leave a link in the description. It's in the supplies link in the description of this video. And yeah, amazing stuff. So I got a couple of blues there. The cerulean blue that I use and ultramarine blue. I like to use both because I want, as I said, I want some variation in the sky. And yeah, so I've been focusing on the sky for the first, not half of this video, but I think the third of this video was with the sky. It took me about 50 minutes to paint, a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I just got really involved in the sky and I just loved it. I mean, you're going to see it now. I mean, I'm going to start with the blue part here. I've just done a light sketch as well beforehand, before painting this, with by using a oil color. No, let's start again. By using a crayon, that's oil based. A really quick sketch there. So brushes, I'm using a number 8 ivory flat from Rosemary & Co. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get your hands on some of those. They're amazing brushes. I use them in pretty much all of my tutorials, mostly flat brushes. So I've just picked out the sort of darker blue there in the mix, and just begin by indicating really. And yeah, I love this. Just sort of indicating and playing with the different variations of blue there, usually a bit darker at the top, and it kind of goes more vibrant and then a lot lighter towards the sea. This photo was taken in the UK. I think my mother sent it to me. Shout out to my mum. Thanks, Janet, for you. I think it's a picture taken in the southwest of the UK. But anyway, loved the photo. I wanted something a bit calm and kind of fresh. And what better way to start the year with by painting a seascape really, and sky. So, and I'll be using a palette knife later on. But here I'm just indicating with using that little bit of medium, just simple blue mix really with the sky. And just alternating it really, just adding a little bit more variation with the other blue mixes that we've got going on there. So I'm not going for a replica of the reference photo. I'm just using it as a guide. I want something that's quite sort of semi impressionistic and a little bit abstract. And I really got involved in this piece. 10 by 10 inches, pretty big for me to paint. And yeah, it took me about 50 minutes and I really had a good time. So I'm going to try and talk you and walk you through what I was up to basically for this piece. When I finished this painting, I put all the video, the videos, the recordings in the software, and it said 56 minutes, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's like the longest video ever. So I chopped up the best I can, and yeah, it hit about 40, I think 43 minutes or so for the video. But I just got a little bit more titanium white in that mix there because it goes lighter at the bottom, and I'm not going to blend everything out. There will be parts where I will blend, and there will be parts that I won't blend. But I really had a lot of fun with these clouds, and you're gonna see shortly. So again, same brush. I just wiped it. I think no, I didn't wash the brush yet. I just kept the brush clean because we're still using blue and white pretty much only, and I was quite generous with the paint this time, and it's quite thick now, the paint, and just a bit expressive here, but it's fine. I mean, it's just pretty much a couple of variations of blue with lots of titanium white, and I'm going to be working into the wet and wet part slightly. So here is my pale purple mix. I will say pale sort of plum colour, and it's kept quite thin, the paints. I think I've got my number 4 brush there, the ivory flat, and I'm just again gonna loosely begin to put the grey part of the clouds in, and I've got to just mix a little bit of blue there because I want it to go a bit darker, and I'm being really loose now, and I'm still being very careful. I don't want to touch much of that blue at the moment. Maybe just blend a little bit in some areas. Clouds are amazing. They're not all, in my eyes, they're not all really sort of soft and blended out. I'm playing with edges, and so I want some areas that blend into the blue and some areas that are kind of sharp. So probably right there in that sort of white area that you can see now, that's sort of facing down, and it's going to be a sharp edge. And we're going to have soft edges as well. So yeah, the paint is not too thin. I mean, it's not been thinned down too much. It's sort of a nice consistency, which I can probably just about, well, I can work a little bit over parts of this paint and with thicker paints. But as I said, I'm just getting a general idea and being really loose and really being a bit playful. And you're going to see my brush strokes shortly when I begin to add the thick part and the light part, and I'll be using a palette knife shortly in the clouds as well. So again, just feathering out a little bit and just getting an idea of kind of what's going on, and finding my way. But yeah, feeling pretty good today with this piece, and being loose and quite broad with the brush strokes, but also being pretty kind of cautious. And here now with, I think this is a number 4 again. I think or number 2, sorry, 2 brush, and I just begin by adding in a lighter tone with the same mix, but just added more titanium whites, and just begin by, yeah, there you go, there's more titanium white with thicker paint, and just begin by kind of laying that in quite thick. This is the highlighted area of the clouds, so I pretty much want my highlights to be kind of really thick, juicy paints. And yeah, I could have probably gone another tone or value in between what I've got down and now. But I ended up going the other way, so I think I'm gonna get an almost um, full white, kind of titanium white that will go on top of some areas to be my brightest tone. So I kept it pretty simple, but I just really enjoyed playing with this wet paint. Um, Working wet into wet is a lot of fun, as long as you keep the brushes clean. Um, it was a lot of fun, and um, these brushes are great for for my technique, where I want kind of sharp edges, soft edges. I want chunky brush strokes to really show, especially in highlighted areas. And yeah, it really made for a great piece, and I really love the reference photo. So just playing with edges, I really want to tell you a story about tea. So my fascination with tea started around September, the first week of September. I was due to launch an oil painting course. A little plug there. It's on my website if you want to check out more details. So it's a course from a German company called Artefacto, and I before we launched the course, I was asked to get ready and kind of do a online workshop in front of hundreds of people. And this was after work, so I was at school. I got home around 5, and I was due to sort of log on at 6 o'clock and talk to the host from the company and have a little, basically, painting session. So we'd arranged to paint uh, a kind of moody seascape that with the sunrise, a sunset, sorry. And well, what happened about 45 minutes before I was due to kind of log on, I just started coughing. Like I don't know if I was nervous, and I almost like started choking and coughing, um, and I was like, oh my god, I got to speak now. I got to go online in like half an hour, and I've got to talk and paint, and I can't do this and whilst coughing, and this is like, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so I started making tea, made some lemon tea, green tea, and I was putting all this ginger in, pepper. I think I put in lemons, fruit, whatever I could find. Just put it. I just squeezed it into the tea, and I had about 4 cups within like 45 minutes. I was just necking all this tea, right? And not only did it help with my cough, but it really um gave me so much focus. Like I don't know if it was placebo or not, because I was feeling fine, a little bit tired, but I by the time I logged on, um, I had so much focus and like I felt, I don't know if you've ever seen Limitless, the movie, Bradley Cooper when he takes that kind of drug and he's just like super intelligent. Not that I was super intelligent, but I was super, yeah, focused and switched on. And I went through this painting. I painted this piece right in about 25 minutes or so, 30 minutes, and I was on fire. Like I was talking a little bit, answering questions, and um, yeah, by the time the painting finished, yeah, I think it was about 45 minutes. There were hundreds of people watching and taking part, and oh, sorry, a few people taking part, but they wanted to ask me questions, and I wouldn't shut up. Like I was talking so much, like, and I was so excited, and I don't know, it was the whole, it was so overwhelming. I mean, I've never done it before. Painting live online in front of hundreds of people, a few hundred people, and of course I was nervous at first, but afterwards I felt so like, I don't know, just so chatty, and like I'm quite a talkative person anyway. But yeah, I think like, I don't know. So from then I've been drinking a lot of tea, and I feel really good with tea. caffeine free is fine. Really love orange and ginger and a bit of caffeine with the green tea. But yeah, that was my little tea story, and I think tea really sort of saved my life that day. Anyway, back to the painting. So that was my tea story. Um, as you saw, I laid down an almost white mix in the brightest part. So now I'm just getting the brush down, just playing with edges. So right there, I want a sharp edge. I want a really, this is where I got really like involved. I loved it. I didn't overwork it. I just got really involved in what I was doing with the clouds here, and I really wanted to portray my soft and hard edges, and with a lot of paints because I want it to sit on top of certain areas, and just again now indicating and just throwing in some paint into that wet blue sky there. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, when you're working wet onto wet, it's always quite a good idea to make sure the paint is a little bit thicker. Like for example, there, I got the pink mix that kind of mixes and sits more on top of what I've already got down. But yeah, I love painting this sky, keeping it really fresh as well. Um, but kind of simple, you know. There's not much going on. I mean, it's just that it's all about like pressure and the application of paint that you're using. Um, and again, it's a personal preference because I've got my reference photo, and like, for example, there I'm just blending my finger now and just pushing things back and forth. Not blending everything out. But yeah, it's a personal preference, really. It's really nice to kind of practice and see and just not blend everything out. You know, keep certain parts quite thick and certain parts blended, and yeah, just get a feel for it really. And it's quite hard to explain. Here I'm mixing up the sea now with variation, not just blue and white. I got some. I added some cadmium yellow into that, and the cadmium yellow light, and just a couple of different blues in there. There's more cerulean blue now on the knife. Um, but yeah, it wasn't just blue. I mean, blue and white. It was. I saw a bit of green in there and variations of blue. So that's what I'm doing now, just mixing up that blue. And I used a little bit of medium just to help the paint make the paint flow. But I've got a lot of paint on my palette there, and it allows me to do more. I mean, I've done it many times where I've mixed paint batches and I don't mix enough. So it's always worthwhile mixing a little bit more. Um, and for me, this 10 by 10 inch is pretty big. So yeah, always worthwhile mixing a little bit more paint than you need. So I'm using my number 4 ivory flat here, and I just got a little bit of lighter mix there just for some more kind of variation. So yeah, I really took my time on this in some areas. Here, for example, I want a straight line, so hold my breath and just um, kind of um, stroke the brush really along the horizon there. But yeah, these brushes are flat, so they did a great job um, with that. And it's always worthwhile kind of working what's furthest away and coming forward. I will be jumping back into the sky a little bit as well. You're going to see me use my palette knife shortly as well with all the greenery that's going on in the foregrounds. This painting will take ages to dry. I used a lot of paints, but it was totally worth it. Okay, so here I'm mixing, um, I guess, some cool color for some, I guess, mountains that I saw in the backgrounds, or distant kind of hills, I would say. So that's going to be a lot cooler, and that just blends into the horizon there. And just softening a little bit of area here. So again, it's quite. so far, I mean, the painting is it looks quite loose. I think it's quite controlled. It's not so tight. I just, as I said, slow down a little bit with this one and really try to capture what I wanted. So again, if you know me, I love the mad mix of abstraction, um, impressionism that looks kind of semi-realistic. It's crazy to understand, but colors for me. I mean, tones are more important. So your values, what's values are how light or dark your subject is, and I mean, I'm not trying to get the correct colors. I mean, than what I see in the reference photo. Yeah, and just basically playing with like blending a little bit, um, keeping my brushes clean as well. And okay, it's I mean most of the painting was very cool, but I think I added in some kind of yellow into the sky shortly. But yeah, I've been using that solvent-free gel. Oh yeah, here's the yellow part now. Um, just cadmium yellow light and titanium white. But yeah, that cadmium, oh, sorry, that solvent-free gel. Um, sorry, edge of my palette knife there. Is that's that solvent-free gel? It seems to keep the paintings wet for a long time. Okay, I do use a lot of paint mines, and it is cold. It is a winter, so um, I'll be continuing to use this in the summer, and then we'll see how quickly they dry. I mean, I'm in no rush to get my paints to dry, but just thought I'd mention it. So yeah, that's yellow. That's cadmium yellow and titanium white there, and I'm just um, playing really and kind of adding some warm highlights. Um, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, these MDF panels they're so hardcore. I mean, you probably could do this on a canvas, but it would just make you dizzy and it would just bounce everywhere and probably rip. Um, but yeah, a lot of fun these panels, and I really like the noise. It's kind of like ASMR kind of sound in like scratching and scraping, but it's a really nice, pleasant sounds. It's like when I'm mixing on the palette. That's a nice sound as well. Maybe I'll turn on the volume one day before I do the voiceover. Okay, so just picking up some of the same colours there and edge of the palette knife, feeling pretty confident today. And uh, again, without going too overboard, just placing some abstraction there, and just having fun, like dancing with the palette knife and pressure. Just I can blend as well a little bit more in some areas, and some areas not blending. So you really get a sense of depth. When you blend everything out, it might appear to be quite misty and subtle, and I want to do both. So I want to blend some areas out, and then have some areas that aren't blended. I think that makes for a really great painting. I'd love to do this painting again, not because I'm not happy with it. I'm really happy with the outcome, but I really enjoyed this sky, this kind of like coolness of the sky, and cloud formation here was super. Yeah, and it was just a lot of fun. Perhaps I will someday in the future. So just adding some more titanium white there from the tube. If I didn't mention, I'm using water mixable oil paints. I think I mentioned it. Anyway, so here I'm just mixing up a sort of sandy colour. I want it to be fairly vibrant, but not too much. Not too vibrant. Mix of cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, and cadmium red on top of that warm, that titanium white and cadmium yellow. Um, just sort of going to go for a beige color really, but I'm also going to add a hints of like pink in there as well because okay, wet sands could be sort of shown as being like pale purple from a distance. Um, that's where the sand kind of gets wet from the sea, and it just appears to be this sort of plummy color. But yeah, I got my number two brush there, and I'm just indicating that now. So while I add in the beach, I'll just let you know that I do have Patreon. I have many things on Patreon now, many tutorials, ad-free tutorials, downloadable resources, including reference photos, finished artworks. I have exclusive behind-the-scenes content that I don't show anywhere else online. I'm currently building up a community of aspiring artists that want to sort of level up. And I also offer light feedback on artworks and voting power and many other things. So if that's something that you're interested in, then I'll leave the link in the description below, and I hope to see you there. So I'm mixing up a dark green. That kind of will be a bit lighter now, and I will knock that back slightly by adding some cadmium red in a minute, because I'm going to be working on the green that's in the distance, and so I want to desaturate it slightly and keep what's brightest and darkest and more saturated in the foregrounds. So here's where it gets a lot of fun. Pretty much my palette knife um, did most of the work now in the foreground with these greens. I really love using palette knives in the foregrounds with a lot of texture, and it just, I mean, it's nothing's thinned down or really sort of scrubbed into the surface. It's really like paint at its best. It's just paint from the tube, mixed all together, of course, to make the greens. But yeah, it's just really strong and vibrant and just beautiful, juicy paint. This will take ages to dry. So just added in a little bit of more variation of cerulean blue and cadmium yellow, and just adjusting it slightly. Green, it can be very punchy. Green can be, I don't want it to be quite to be fake. So it's good to add variation in your greens, especially when you add in, you can also add what I did earlier in that first mix, the cadmium red or burnt sienna. That's the red is the opposite color of green, so it kind of desaturates it slightly and makes it more natural. And here's why, when you want to sort of play with edges as well, with the hills that I saw in the reference photo, which I really liked. Okay, so that's ultramarine blue, and that's sap green now, the one that's falling into the blue. And I think I'm going for something a bit closer now. On the right hand side, it appeared to be a little bit darker. Pretty unpredictable, the palette knife. Kind of worked into it quite a while. I would have liked to have finished this part a little bit quicker, but I wanted to be happy with it, and I was happy with how this painting turned out. So just layering in now and kind of seeing what's going on. You'll see me scrape things away as well and really create texture and abstraction. But I'm just trying to identify the shadows really. So it's easier for me to kind of work with the shadows first, and then gradually get a bit lighter and lighter until I get to my brightest highlights. But sometimes I go back and forth as well, and but that's a general rule of thumb: dark to light. So I really hope you're enjoying the video. If you can, if you're getting value out of this video, or enjoy listening to me ramble on about tea and sort of what I'm doing, this is a freestyle voiceover. I really appreciate if you would comment or even like the video or perhaps share it. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed to the channel, then please do so and hit the notification bell to be notified for when I upload my next video. I'm trying to do a tutorial every week. I absolutely love creating free value, free content on my YouTube channel, and I just love it. And if I can help one person, give value to one person, then I'm happy. So yeah. Okay, here I just went for a little bit more of that yellow, cadmium yellow mix, cadmium yellow into the mix, and I'm just adjusting really and playing. It's a lot of paint here, but it's so much fun. I mean, I can work. This is really wet into wet now, but you'll see me, as I said, scrape things away and adjust things slightly, and yeah, it's a lot of fun with this palette knife. And this is my baby palette knife here, and I've got that dark mix there where I can really cut through and just indicate some kind of like hedges that I saw in the distance there. I'd like to paint more of the British landscape. Um, I have a couple of reference photos which I'm going to look at this year, and yeah, really sort of play with my greens a little bit more. Um, the UK has amazing landscapes. The greens are so lush, and yeah, it'd be definitely worthwhile um, exploring more of the great British landscape. So there, I just put some more cerulean blue in. I want this. I'm going to go for a really punchy green now. So cerulean blue and cadmium yellow light. I want this to be the brightest part for the foregrounds, and you're going to see me adjust this mix slightly, a little bit more. Um, I saw this to be really well, quite vibrant, but quite light as well. So a lot of paint there, and just gonna begin by using my medium-sized palette knife and just cake that on. I used a little bit of medium as well, just to help with the paint flow. So yeah, I should have stuck it down with blue tack, but I didn't this time. Um, and I'm going to be scratching away, um, and scraping and adjusting. A lot of fun. Takes a bit of confidence, um, and a bit of playing around. Um, but I was really happy with this. And okay, I jumped into my brush there. I got my size 2 brush, and having a mix of brush work and palette knife techniques, I think is really nice. Really makes for an interesting painting. You get the best of both worlds there. Okay, here's what I like. I think I started scraping away now a little bit. Um, it's really nice to scrape away. Oh, there you go. It fell off again. To scrape away some area here, for example. Look at that now, and it really sort of pushes back um, parts of the painting and brings other painting and parts of the painting forwards. I really love that, and I just love abstraction and texture anyway. And if I can create something that doesn't look so realistic, but we know what it is in a really sort of like abstracty, impressionistic way, then I'm really happy. Because all it is tone. Like I'm working dark to light, and I'm using variation. A pretty limited color palette, keeping the whole painting harmonious in that way as well. And it just ties everything in together, in my opinion. And um, here I'm just blending out with my finger, and now here I'm working with my soft and hard edges now. So I'm leaving some edges hard and some soft. And I can do that with my finger, keeping my finger really clean afterwards and before. But yeah, just blending with my little finger, really. Not everything, just some areas. And that is, I mean, you can use blender brushes as well, but the finger really does give like a stronger blend. That's my blender brush there. I've had that for years. It's not much left of it, but I'm just tidying up um, some area there. Okay, I just want to. I got a palette knife there with almost titanium white, just to indicate the shoreline. I saw it a little bit whiter in the reference photo, but I didn't want it so strong as a strong sort of highlight. I wanted it a bit more sort of paler, so I just went over it a couple of times, but I'm not using too much paint there. And just scratching in to reveal some highlights and some areas. It's so much fun, like having like distortion. I don't know. I just love distorted. I mean, parts like broken up parts, and it gives the paint so much interest. Look at the shadow there. I mean, it's just so much fun, and it looks modern, and I just absolutely adore it. It's just it's something that I would like. I have so much respect for artists, for painters that create realism, that can spend hours on painting something that looks photographic. I love it. I think it's great, but it's just not me. Like I want something that looks interesting, and by doing this, really does it makes me very happy. Um, so yeah, I just went back there for some shadows. What I mentioned earlier, it's not all in general always dark to light, but then I just jumped back into the dark, made a dark mix of green there, and I just created more shadows. So yeah, and I wanted this part to be a bit lighter, and yeah, so much paint and on that palette knife there. But yeah, I'm just scratching it a little bit more just to reveal some highlights and get that scratchy kind of technique and texture that I just love so much. And I'm also cleaning the palette knife as well when it goes off screen, but I cut that out. Okay, a lot of thick paint here, just with my small size 2 brush, and just added in some more chunky highlights, but that paint is a lot thicker. But it's blending in a little bit because the paint down also is fairly thick. I love making these videos. I love painting. I love recording. I love editing. And I wasn't really in the mood today to talk. Feeling a bit tired, but I'm so glad I did. Like, I feel so relaxed talking with you. Um, I I hope it's helping. Um, I'm it's really weird for me still to talk about my work and what I'm doing. It's quite random because it's a random voiceover, but I really enjoyed your company today. Let me just tell you that's not a rigger brush, but it's a pointed rounds. It's flared out. It's an old brush, but I just wanted to get some of that almost pure titanium white, just for some final details, without going overboards. But um, yeah, so that's a lot of paint there, and I can just blend it in slightly with that blue mix. But um, I've I've really enjoyed coming on today and having a talk with you. Um, my goodness, if you made it this far, we're 40 minutes into the video, and if you have been with me that long, then I really really appreciate you. Um, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. We still got a minute or two left, but I just want to say thank you. For your support, for watching my videos. I just love making videos, and I love painting, and I love sharing what I know. And I certainly don't um, not the one to say that I know everything, because I don't. Um, it's I'm just making content to show you my journey. I've been oil painting now for exactly 5 years. However, I've been drawing my whole life. Um, I just love what I do. I love helping people, if I can, and I just love it all. So, yeah, just want to say a big thank you so much. A few more little details here, and I don't usually use the small brush there, but I think I might start um, implementing or using this brush at the end just for a few details without going overboard. Oh, here was a this was a nice part. So I just mixed cadmium red and ultramarine blue into that white mix because I wanted a bit more kind of purple, because you can see some yellow in the sky there, which I added earlier. The palette knife and opposite color of purple, of yellow is purple. So the same brush, just gave it a quick wipe, and I'm just going to cut into that wet paint. This was so much fun. Like that wet into wet is just so much fun, and then blended in some areas there. I saw some purple clouds um, in the sky there in the lower part. Um, but yeah, everything's so like it's so forgiving. Oil paints are, and um, you know, just so much fun. Yeah, huge thank you again, and I will see you in the next video. Take care for now. Happy painting, and stay wonderful.